Hello, hello, strangers. I've missed you. School's back in session. The All-Star break is over. The Kings back in action tonight. Hey, big news, breaking news. Domantas Sabonis will be available for Mike Brown and the Kings tonight. That is huge news. We'll talk about the game tonight, that and much more on the Kings pregame show on If You Don't Like That.
3, 2, 1, go.
Sacramento miscue. Carter, stolen by Williams. And look at this. Oh, you don't like that. You don't like NBA basketball.
Fox, goodbye. Oh, if you don't like that, you don't like NBA basketball. The exclamation point from De'Aaron Fox. Oh, if you don't like that, you don't like NBA basketball.
Boy, that's an ESPN highlight right there. Whoa. Carlson comes in. How about this? Holy moly, Jim Bob Foley. That is a major league smush.
Welcome into the pregame show on If You Don't Like That. I'm Ryan in Sactown. It is the Kings. It's the Spurs. The Spurs 6-23 on the season. You know where your Kings stand, 31-23, 28 games to go. The Spurs, they don't do a ton of things well. They do some things well. Obviously, Victor Wembanyama, his length, the Spurs are fourth in blocks. They're also right up there in assists too. So they do share the ball pretty well, but nothing that should be throwing this Sacramento team off. They've got a bunch of rest. They've healed up a little bit as much as they can. We bring you right back in here. So I think the Kings should be ready to go, but who knows? This 28 games, and it is a big 28 games for the Sacramento Kings coming home down the stretch to hopefully get a top 6 seed headed into the playoffs. They've got 18 of the 28 against the Western Conference. Take that for what it's worth. The stats aren't much different. Kings versus the West versus the East. So, hey, happy to have you here on If You Don't Like That. We will be right back here at halftime. Jerry Reynolds will be joining me. And then post-game, we're going to open it up to all you. We'll be taking phone calls. And we'll be talking about the game. And hopefully we're talking about a Kings win, because the schedule that is coming up is absolutely brutal. Egan, go Kings. Yes, indeed, Egan. That's the energy I'm talking about. And that's the energy the Kings need to come out with tonight. If you haven't been paying attention much, I know it's been slow in sports as of late. Mike Brown, when the Kings got back from the All-Star break, there was a big emphasis once he finally spoke to the media, a big emphasis on defending the three-point line. The Kings are last in the NBA at defending the three-point line. And luckily for the Kings, they're in the top third in the league in limiting three-point attempts, but still, almost shooting 40% from beyond the arc is nearly unheard of. So Mike Brown pointed to closeouts as part of the issue. De'Aaron Fox was asked about the same issue. He pointed to closeouts as well. So it'll be interesting to see how the Kings address it. Mike Brown, according to their analytics, their statistics, if the Kings defended the three-point line at an average rate, their defensive rating would be 8th in the NBA. Think about that for a second. Defensive rating would be 8th in the NBA. So this team's not going to change who they are overnight, but I don't think it's asking too much for this team to improve technically when it comes to closing out. And certainly it seems that is where the focus is in Sacramento land. Another place the focus is at is free throws. The Kings have been struggling with free throws or struggled the first half of the season. And in this stretch run, we know the Kings, they do not have a lot of room for error, and free throws are one of those things that the Kings absolutely need to do better down the stretch. They also need to get to the line more. Mike Brown talked about that. One thing Mike didn't talk about was the fact that the Kings, I don't know if you know this, the Kings are 27th in the NBA at 2-point attempts. So 27th, but when the Kings are shooting twos, when they're in the mid-range in the paint, they're 4th in the NBA in 2-point percentage. So maybe Mike Brown, the team, the coaches, they've looked at some of these things. And quite frankly, I thought it was quite refreshing to hear Mike Brown speak to some of the issues that some of you have pointed out right here on this show. Some of you have, tweeted about. So we'll see how it improves tonight. The Spurs, this is going to be the test tonight, right? Here's the stat of the game. The Spurs are nearly the worst. I believe they are the worst. They are the worst 3-point shooting team in the NBA. So if Victor Wembanyama and the rest of the guys come out and they're knocking down threes, might be trouble for this Kings team. We will see. Rich, what's up, man? Hope all is well in San Diego. Kings All-Stars arrested up for the final run. Get her done. Indeed, Rich. They are all rested up. I found it interesting. I'm not sure if any of you heard the audio about De'Aaron Fox and his shoulder. So De'Aaron was asked, what's going on with it? How's it feeling? And he acknowledged that there's a problem there. Quick to acknowledge almost that there's a problem. So let's stop that right there. He hasn't been on the injury report short of that one game where he was listed. No, he missed one game. Excuse me. He missed one game and then was back the next for that shoulder injury. But after that, nothing else. And then some of the reporters were saying labrum. And De'Aaron's, I don't know. I've heard labrum. Not sure what a labrum is. Anyways, the point of this is something's with the shoulder, but De'Aaron claims the shoulder has not been scanned. How has his shoulder not gotten an MRI? And maybe, De'Aaron said, has it gotten scanned? I don't think it's been MRI'd. So maybe it has. But that was a little bit shocking to me. And the follow-up question to that was his mid-range game. Because you think back to last year and you think back to De'Aaron Fox at his best. De'Aaron Fox is at his best when that mid-range game is effective. Because then you don't know if he's going to pull up. You don't know if he's going to go by you. You don't know if he's going to step back and shoot the three. And De'Aaron says there's no correlation between the shoulder and the mid-range game and him not shooting as much from that range. So I want to track that because you look at some of the things the Kings have been pointing out, the players have been pointing out coming into this game tonight. Some of them are fixable. Some of them are things that this Kings team was able to do consistently last year, but we're down to 28 games starting tonight. So is 28 games enough to say this team can change? I don't know, but I do know that if you can defend the 3-point line a little bit better, that's going to change a lot for this team. It's going to change a lot. Carf, what's up, man? Rhino, what's good? Hoping Kings don't play down to the Spurs level tonight. Yeah, it'll probably be a little sluggish right off the bat. That would be my guess. But ultimately, and I maintain this, if Domas, and by the way, if you're just tuning in now, this is If You Don't Like That. I'm Ryan in Sactown. This is your Kings pregame show. Domas is available tonight. He was listed initially yesterday as doubtful, upgraded to questionable earlier after going through shoot around, and now just declared eligible and available for tonight. So thank you for being here. We're getting you ready for the Spurs and the Kings. So levels to the games. Yeah, it's going to be sluggish tonight. It will, but ultimately, even if Domas didn't play in this game, I maintain the Kings still probably would have won because, or should, I should say, should win because regardless of who you are, Wemby's going to be a problem for the Kings. So does Domas make a huge difference on the defensive side? Maybe, maybe not. What's up, man? Of course, it's my pleasure. My pleasure, Dorian. You're one of my guys. Appreciate you being here, man. Peter, no excuse if the Kings lose this game. There's really not. No, there's not. And with Mike Brown now talking a lot more about defense and pointing to the areas that he feels can be corrected, fairly, not simple, but are correctable. Let's put it that way. He's pointing to those areas, but one area we're not pointing to is Mike Brown's rotation. What's that going to look like tonight? Davion, he's been a part of it, but outside of Malik Monk and outside of Trey Lyles, you don't know who else is going to get significant minutes off the bench. Sasha Vezenkov, unavailable tonight. He is not going to be back from that ankle injury quite yet. So that's one thing I'm looking for because I just don't see how a team can roll into the playoffs, especially if you're able to get a 6 seed, because that's what the goal of these next 28 games is. It is the 6 seed. So that's what this team has to absolutely shoot for. And let's say you get that 6. Okay. If you don't have a consistent rotation, that's going to hurt you on a lot of nights. It is. I mean, you could argue, well, it's not predictable for the other team. Well, it doesn't have to be predictable if the guys aren't effective. So we'll see. That's something I want to see improve tonight or see something get more consistent. Andrew, all right, dude, if you say so. That's Andrew J. If you need him on YouTube, you can go to him if it doesn't happen right there. Adam, welcome back, man. 8 days off, charged up. Indeed. Let's get a win tonight. Let's finish season off and try to get in the top 6. Just talking about it. Lots of home games to close it out. Yes, there are a lot of home games, but the Kings have not taken advantage of the home court as they should this season. They haven't. And I know that they still have a good home court record, but it should be better. You look at the teams that are vying for the top 6 seeds in each conference. I think most of their home records are better than what the Kings have. So pay attention to that as well. Hey, by the way, I want to remind you, if you haven't already, and I want to thank you too, 7,000 subscribers recently, just passed on Grant's YouTube channel. If you don't like that, all of our live shows are there. You can also get exclusive content and rant. So scan that QR code and subscribe if you have not. And those that have already, we thank you very, very much for that. Frog, what's up? Noticed when the Kings have extended time off, Harrison has a good game. Yeah, I saw Will Z Stats put that out today. I think that was his swing stat about Harrison Barnes with 3+ days off. If it is true, I mean, Will does good work, so I trust that. But I'm not convinced it has anything to do with the days off. It's just whether it's a Barnes night or it's not. It seems like if you had to surgically dissect this team, you have to think there's a layer or a dynamic there where there's a struggle, where you have a player like Harrison Barnes that's being more or less excluded from the offense, right? I mean, shots are going other places. Now, you can make the argument, Ryan Harrison's a pro. Go get the ball. Speak up. Sure. Absolutely. But then there's times too, well, if Harrison, who everybody says the utmost professional, consummate professional. If that's the case and Harrison feels that's his role to play, that's the role he's going to play. So I wonder if there's that struggle there, that that's when you see Harrison pop up as a reminder, hey guys, I can still ball. I can still do things to help this team. So, but it is true. Harrison does have better games on I believe it was at least 3 days or 3 or more days rest. Go check out Will Z's stats on the X and you can see it there. They better not come out lackluster. Well, they probably will come out lackluster. I mean, both teams will be fresh. Both teams will be fresh. It might be sloppy. And here's the thing. The Spurs are one of the worst teams in the NBA about fouling. So that in itself could inevitably slow down the game. And if the Kings are not making free throws, that could make for a lumpy, just kind of awkward, not fun to watch game. But ultimately, there's no reason that the Kings should not have this win tonight. Guys, the Spurs have 6 wins on the season tonight. And you'll see some guys from the Spurs that can play. They're a decent team. They'll use the shot clock on the offensive end. But, the Kings are more talented. It's just whether or not the Kings bring it. So we will see. Alberto, time to lock in. No more. Let's see. Sorry, my screen flashed there. No more goofing around. Agreed, B-Tone. Let's see. I tip. Oh, appreciate it, buddy. Thank you. If you guys are not aware of it, I have a new podcast that I rolled out. It is called The King's Court. You can find it anywhere that podcasts are, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all that good stuff. It's your daily Kings Insider podcast that's short form and it's free. So go there. I get you out almost every day in under 10 minutes. So we're giving you information. We're giving you stats that you're not getting anywhere else. So go check that out. The King's Court with Ryan in Sactown, Alberto. I appreciate you plugging that for me. We will do it, actually. We were going to do one before the start of the second half or the last 28 games, but life happened. Let's go. What's up, Cody? Yeah, let's hope we get a refreshed team indeed. And I think the guy, if I want to look at one guy that I'm looking to see how he looks, it's absolutely going to be Keegan Murray. I want to see how he's recovered a little bit. He's had a rough go of it. I mean, he's bruised up, he's bumped up, but Keegan, his improvement on the defensive side of the ball this year has been nothing short but of incredible. So I want to see how he comes out. Obviously, Fox, what kind of team are we going to see with him? So Cody asking about JaVale. You think JaVale gets some run in this matchup? I think he has to. Cody. I mean, as much as it seems unappealing, you're probably going to see some JaVale McGee on the perimeter with Wemby on some switches. So that'll likely happen. I would like to see Alex Len be the one that, Wemby he's one of those guys that's going to, if he stays healthy, he will change basketball. By the time his career is done with, but his body is so different, and his body is meant to be that way. The people around him, his handlers, all of them, him growing up, they intended for Wemby to be lean and long like this. So as soon as they realized that he was going to be something special, so he's just now getting into an NBA weight regimen. So I want to see Alex Len come in and push him around a little bit. So you get 6 fouls. So Cody, I think you see them both tonight. But if it was not a Wemby night, I would certainly be hoping for a Alex Len night. As I said, you guys can call the show if you would like. This guy usually calls only on the post, but I don't know what he's going to do with his arms. What up, Condog?
What up, Ryan? It's good to be back. Kings basketball.
Back.
Yeah, well, let's see how rested the boys are from their week in a couple of days rest. And big night for West Coast basketball because Warriors-Lakers play at the same time, too.
Yeah. And Braun is out tonight.
Yeah, he's out.
So, yeah. And hey, you bring up a good point about West Coast basketball. Every single game matters for the Kings, and 10 or 18 of their last 28 are against the Western Conference. So this has to be a no-brainer win. Has to be.
Oh yeah, this can't be one of those Blazers or Pistons or Hornets games. It has to be. We got to come out, make a statement. Again, Wemby's a great player, but I think we should win by double digits.
I'm with you, Condog. I'm with you. I mean, when I say it has to be a win, it doesn't mean it's going to be pretty. But if we're talking about a loss tonight, it's not going to be a good thing.
There will be no arms raised at the post-game show if we lose tonight. I will guarantee that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I appreciate you lobbing the call. We'll see you after the game, Condog.
Yes, sir.
All right, brother. Appreciate him calling, and we will be doing a lot more of that after the show. So make sure you show up for that. We're getting you ready for the Kings and the Spurs here on If You Don't Like That. Don't forget, Jerry Reynolds will be here with me at halftime. We're looking forward to that. And I am still thinking about our lunch. Grant, Jerry, myself, and Grant's friend Brian, who is a major league umpire at Bennett's West Side Grill. I'm going to usually talk about the steak, going to talk about the seafood. No, I'm going to talk about the other things they do. They do catering orders. They do just about anything. Seriously, just about anything. And if you have gluten allergies or anything along those lines, they will work with you as well with some gluten-free options. So go check out Bennett's West Side Grill. That is the newest location in Rockland. You know about the other two, one in Roseville and the other off of Howe and Fair Oaks. Go in, tell them you heard about them here on Grant and Ryan on If You Don't Like That. I love me some Bennett's. In fact, Jerry Reynolds does not know this, but Jerry Reynolds, I got to get that guy over to Bennett's for some brunch here in the next week or two. So, hey, I am loving all these comments. Let's get to a few more. Adam's talking about the big lineup. Looking forward to the big lineup of McGee, Len, Sabonis, Murray, and Barnes tonight. Yes, indeed. Alberto hopping in about the loss. If they were to lose, it is the worst loss of the year. Yes, 100%. 100%. Well, hold on. Short of somebody getting Sabonis Fox getting injured, and even in that sense, that's like the worst loss of the year, literally. But yeah, it probably is, depending on how it is. Depending, like 20-point loss, yeah, probably. What's up, Mason? We played our best ball after the All-Star break last year. We did, Mason. I'll always remember that Clippers game. That was magic. Mason, was that before or after the All-Star break? It was after. You're right, Mason. Yeah, that was magic. And remember, the Kings were the beneficiaries of some breaks too. There was a lot of guys. Remember, Portland rested all of their guys out of the break last year. And then, it lined up for the Kings as they rolled out of the break. And yeah, Mason, spot on. That is exactly what got the Kings the 3 seed last year. Baki, what's up, my man? Are you sleepy, bro? Not sleepy. I'm ready to go. You want Grant, Chad? Grant is not going to be here tonight. You're going to have myself and Jerry. Grant is traveling. So, yeah, I'm sorry. He will be back next game, though. But give me a shot. Call in the show. Do something. Come on with Jerry and I. Give us a try, Chad. I promise you won't regret it. What's up, Excel? Win tonight, and we're in the 7th. We'll see. Let's just get a win, right? Glad the nap was good, Condog. I guess you just rolled out of bed and got on the show. Mavericks and Pelicans aren't losing. Suns are. Thanks for the update. Grant Van Halen. Yes. Thank you for bringing this up. Shout out to Scott Pollard. He got a transplant. Let's wish him a full and successful recovery. All right. So if you have not been following Grant on Twitter, go follow him, Grant Napier Show, or at Grant Napier Show. Grant was actually in Nashville when Scott got his transplant, and Grant was planning to be with Scott that day. He was going to surprise him before they knew the transplant was coming. So the fact that Grant was there to be there with Scott, because those two are extremely close. What I would tell you to do, go to Grant's Twitter page. I'm sure you guys listen to his podcast or follow his podcast. Grant did a full podcast on it. It's beautiful. Go listen to it. And Scott, if somehow you are out there watching this, and Don, you're watching it with him, we are so happy you got your new heart. You deserved it. You left your last one on the floor here in Sacramento, buddy. So rest up, heal up. We can't wait to have you back in Sacramento at some point. Let's see, Rich. Phoenix down 120-108 against Dallas. Yes, that would be big, but Dallas is kind of that fringe team to watch, right, Rich? They're the ones that won the trade deadline. They're the ones that, I mean, they've got the 2 stars, right? Luka is it going to be Luka's time? Can he do it? Can Kyrie play the supporting role? Like, they're kind of lining up for that 6 seed. So I think that's the team to watch, but it is a big win as the stands stay right now. Oh, my bad. And we got some show going on within the show there. But yes, it is the Kings and the Spurs getting ready to tip off here in Sacramento in just a few minutes. I appreciate all of you being here. Come back at halftime. It will be Jerry Reynolds and myself right here talking about the first half. Again, I'm gonna just give you one statistic, because it's the statistic that I could talk about how the Spurs are terrible at rebounding and allowing other teams to rebound. I could talk about how the Spurs are terrible at fouling. I could talk about how the Spurs are the worst team at shooting the 3 ball. I could talk about all those things. The bottom line is the Kings have made a point to say our problem defensively is running teams off the 3-point line. The Spurs are 30th in the NBA. 30th in the NBA at shooting the 3 ball. So tonight, if the Spurs are shooting a high percentage, it's a problem. And let's hope we don't get there. I think this Kings team's going to come out refreshed and ready to go. What's up, dude? Thanks for making it. You know I'm going to let you end the show, though, on a Light the Beam. You know I'll let you end it that way. I think the Kings bring it tonight. We will see. We'll be right back here at halftime. Jerry Reynolds and myself. Again, please go subscribe to Grant's YouTube channel if you have not already. And then go subscribe to the King's Court, my daily short form podcast, available anywhere you can find your podcast. I promise you won't be disappointed on that. We'll see you back at halftime. Go Kings.